the Bosch cordless drill, 18 volt. My bearings went out in the gear head, and having to, I think they call it a gearbox. And so normally you're supposed to be able, as you can follow it out. As you can see right here, I've already taken the screw out, and with my T. So when the bearings went out, that caused the spindle and in the gearbox and the chuck to come out. This unit would still work. You could still drill, but you had to hold the front of the chuck when you started to pull the drill out of a hole. And so now I have to get the spindle out of the chuck. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I had to apply heat to this area right down in here and keep it isolated. I just used a small propane torch. I applied heat here. I had it chucked up in a vise with an Allen wrench where you would normally put the drill bit, like this. I had the Allen wrench held in place with the drill chuck. I put this part of the Allen wrench in a vise around this area up here, and this is damaged. I also impacted this with a hammer, some just to break the thread loose here, and then clamping right here to eventually break it loose. It was tight. It's unconventional way of doing it, but I had no other choice. The other side of the drill, and as you can see, there's a lot of little torque screws, or they may just be Phillips screws. Box. And this is the new gearbox. The spindle came out. It is a torque screw. I don't know if you can see this on here. It is a T10. Looks like a T10. Go ahead and remove the battery now, because you don't want any power to the new gear head, and when you're trying to take this unit apart. They're pretty powerful little units. Holds up to a 1/2 inch, I think from an 1/8 to a 1/2 inch drill bit. Use the mating impact wrench to do some of the work on this unit, and taking out the side cover right here, and it comes right out. We'll take that off, lay that to the side. As you see, I am using the impact driver to back out these screws. All right, let's do another one here. I'm not going to show all the screws being removed. That's pretty self-explanatory. By the way, I've never taken one of these apart before. There is a little spring right here that you may want to watch for. It may try to pop out as I was splitting open the bottom part of the drill where the battery is inserted. If I had to move this in a different angle, they're all identical, so there's nothing dedicated to a certain hole. So I removed all those screws. 9, 10, looks like 10 screws to take out. As you can see, this is the high-low selector, or position 1, position 2 for low gear and high gear. So you want to make sure to keep that little, when you put the new head in, to keep it over that little wire right there. When I got the new one, I didn't quite know what that was. As you can see, there it is. But that's like the gear shifter, forward and reverse. You can just pull it out, or you can leave it in place, but you've got to have it. You see that little opening has to be over that right there. That's the forward and reverse. So that has to be in place like that. All right, there we go. Now you can either leave this stuff in place. This one you may have to pull out. Has a little grease on it. The old gearbox. So you just pull this up slightly and then pull this away. And as you can see, there's a little gear there. And then there's 3 little gears right up in there. That just has to line up when it goes. It's actually a gearbox according to the box that it came in. Let's see, where does it say? Yeah, right here. Little metal tabs right here. I also see a little lineup, as you can see right there. I don't know if I can point to this. It's right there. It's a little lineup boss, and it goes in a slot. Let me get this where it's focused. It goes in that slot right there. That holds the unit in place. Okay, so the little metal tabs right there, they don't go on the inside of this piece. They go back a little bit further. I can see. Put the external shifter back in place. And as you can see, it is over the shifter, or the shifter linkage, and we're going to move it forward. So if everything is correct, this should go into high gear and low gear. This spring that I was talking about, being careful not to let it pop out, apparently that is part of the apparatus, and it's made like a shock absorber for that part right there. So when you put the battery in, it acts as a springy, don't know exactly what, hold the drill battery, the rechargeable drill battery in better. All right, you just slide the cover back down on it, and your reverser, forward, reverse button, the trigger should not pull right there, and right here it should, and right here it should. That's forward and reverse. And your high-low selector should shift like that. Now let's put the screws back in it, and we'll put the battery in and see if it works like it should. All the screws are back in. There's one that is recessed deeper. I don't know if you can see that. We will use the impact driver to run the screws back in there with the T10 Torx. Don't want to go too fast. They don't take much to hold them in there. And wrench. And we'll just give them a little hand tightening now. Okay, got the battery in, and we've got a working unit again. I don't know if you can see that spinning or not. Let's see. This is a left-handed screw right here. So instead of righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, it's lefty-tighty and righty-loosey. So anyway, this thing, let's see that. Okay, right now I've got it in the high gear, and this is the low gear. I'm going to put the Allen wrench back in here, and I'm going to apply pressure to tighten this up, to tighten the chuck back on the spindle. As you can see, there is a little thread lock that's left on there. I'm not going to add and lefty-tighty. Lefty-tighty. There you can see it moving in. And then I'm going to give it, see if I can hold this here. We'll give it just a little impact. All right. And we'll put it in place right here. Like that. This is still got the screw on the Phillips head bit. I'm gonna run it down there. And I use them practically 5 days a week anyway, and then at other times too. So real good units, this Bosch. And it's tight. Inch to ½ inch cordless drill with, it also has the screw head on it so that you can move this around to different degrees of tightness. And it has really been really good units for me. The bearings just went out in the head. This is the old head that came out of the gearbox, or the spindle that came out of the gearbox. Like, subscribe, and ring that little bell.